So this hive right here just swarmed, and give you an idea of where they went just moments ago. Out here, and they are right there in that tree. Whole slew of them. I'm gonna try to get a box here in just a few minutes. It's starting to rain on me. Get a box here, see if I can catch that swarm and start me another colony.
So today's the day. We've been waiting on our hives to possibly swarm. Came out here about 10 minutes ago and saw lots of activity, and sure enough, here they are. They are swarming indeed. Right next to one of our new fruit trees. So this is one of the reasons why we are planting lots of trees to catch these swarms. So, you ready to get this swarm?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go.
So this is what started our whole homestead adventure. First thing we did was caught a swarm a few years back, and that got us into the world of honey beekeeping, and we've continued to add to it. So as we've gotten started here, just a few things. So the swarm's on the tree, you've already seen that. There's some gear. We're right next to the bees. They're actually not too bad today because they're more worried about their swarm than they are about attacking or protecting a home. But we've got a few things here. So this is a Langstroth hive. You have a deep body, you have a cover, an inner cover. This right here is your base, okay? This is a vented base that gives a lot of airflow for the bees. And so it's a screen bottom board is actually what they call it. Bottom board, and then this is screen. Some can be hard. And this again provides more ventilation for moisture, things like that. So what I have here is I have an old box that I've used in the past. Anytime you can use equipment you've already used, that's best. Like this right here has some old comb in it, so the bees have already done all the work and drawing out that comb. You can see how far it sticks out. This is a little bit older comb. This right here has some real nice new comb. So I'm going to give that to the bees, give them a little head start. So as they get in here, they already have some comb. They're going to fix it up, clean it out, and then the queen can start laying right away. Now, as you notice with this swarm in this tree right here, it's kind of on the entirety of our fruit tree. I don't want to destroy that tree. And so I'm just going to scoop it up with my hands, and they're going to start flying. I'm going to put the box below it, and hopefully I'll get the queen and leave the box there probably for a little while, and then we'll all come on home to that area. So typically they move to a temporary place like this, and they're just going to move here for just usually just for a few hours, sometimes a day even. But typically they've already found a home that they want to go to, or they have an idea where they want to go. And what the bees are going to do is they're going to come together. They're going to have a little discussion here and talk about which is the best home, and then they're going to actually swarm off. So if you can catch them at this stage, usually you can put them in a box, keep them, make another colony. But if they swarm off to a direction you don't know where they are, it's hard to get. So when you get into beekeeping, there's going to be a few pieces of equipment that you're going to want. One is a veil. I've chosen here to use a full suit, and the reason I like this, it's just an easy, I can put it on, I can wear shorts underneath it and not worry about bees flying around. Especially as a beginner, it's a good way to get started. Some people do work with the bees and they wear very little as far as equipment. They don't wear gloves, but I would definitely highly recommend a veil at all times.
I've got gloves on.
Yeah. Also, bee brush. This is just helpful when you're moving bees around. I'm going to use this a little bit here as I get the swarm, probably just to scoop them. Want to be gentle. A hive tool, there's a few different kinds. Just a simple hive tool. This just makes the job a whole lot easier. Separating frames and getting the frames out and looking at your comb. And then another thing that's really important, I think, as a new beekeeper is just to have some kind of a clipboard or a note-taking system. Here I've just got a piece of paper and a pen, and when I come out here on this clipboard, I usually write down the date that I see things and what I've observed, and so it's really handy to have that as well. So a few tools. Of course, a smoker is good. I don't think I'm going to need the smoker today. Again, these bees aren't real aggressive. They don't have a home to protect. They don't have young to protect. They're out looking for a new home. So not a lot of extra equipment needed today. I will have gloves on just because I'm going to be handling the bees, and I don't like to get stung. But not a smoker is not necessary. So we're going to get into this in just a moment here. That's what I'm going to do, babe, I think. So this is often how you're going to see a swarm, possibly on a fence post or a clothesline, things like that. Again, the bees are all together. There's a queen in there somewhere. Very difficult to see the queen. She may be marked. I think this is a marked queen. But that means there's a little dot on her depending on what year she was. So what I've done is I've taken my hive here. my box. I have it right below the tree. I'm actually gonna slide this in nice and tight to the tree. So if this was a tree that I didn't really care about, I would just snap a branch off or cut it down and then shake it over. Well, this is a pear tree that we're hoping to get some fruit in future years, so I don't want to damage the tree. I do want to get these bees in here, so all I'm going to do is I'm pretty much going to scoop them and get a majority in there with my hands, and then at the end you're going to see I'm going to give it a good shake and get the rest of these bees off, and they're going to keep congregating, probably have another softball size bees pile of bees later, and I'm just going to take those. So again, I'm just going to start right here from the bottom, and you can see there's a branch here, and I'm just going to shake them. And again, the idea is hoping they all land in there. Okay? By the way, you that are watching this video right now, just know this. This is the first time I've had my wife out here in the bee yard helping me out.
Second time.
Yeah, it's been a while, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think
again,
I'm gonna have to back up because the noise is quite deafening.
All right, just keep an eye on this. Ready? I'm just gonna give it a good shake.
Let me back up. Wow. I'm like in a bee swarm. Ah! Oh my word.
You do have to, it is a little bit of a gut check sometimes when you're messing with these.
Yep.
Again, the idea is hoping that the queen does make it in here and she does so unharmed.
And they'll follow her in there, right?
They'll follow her scent.
Oh, dear Lord, please let the queen be in there.
All right, let's see what we can do.
I'm gonna have to back up just a little bit
you're
more.
fine. Let them fly around you. They're not gonna mess with you. They're worried about their home and what they're doing.
Oh man, I'm sweating though.
I hear you. Ready?
Yeah. I'm gonna shake. Wow. Oh my goodness.
Okay. Also, if you've noticed, I have taken a couple frames out.
Just to give them space to get in there.
Just to give them space, yeah.
You want to be careful too, because you don't want to squish the queen anywhere.
Yeah, you want to protect that queen.
It's amazing how gentle they are right now. Like it doesn't sound like a mad hum, it just sounds like a buzz. What are you doing, Dash? You better be careful around all these beehives. This cat is so nosy. Always checking out what we're doing. You better get the cat out of there. There's a bunch of bees right there. I guess this is a little cat beekeeper in the making.
All right, so we just shook the tree. Again, you can see where the bees actually broke this branch. It was so heavy. It's a pretty good sized swarm. Shook it in there. And then I put a little cover on here. I'm just trying to close it off. You'll notice they're kind of working their way in there. They're on the back side. Here's the front of the hive. And the idea is what's going to happen is they're going to start sending out a pheromone. And you're going to see a bunch of these bees with their back ends up in the air with their wings going. That's sending out their scent. And it's telling others to come on home.
I see that right now.
Yeah, you got a couple. There's one right there.
That one down at the
There's
bottom.
another one down there. So what they'll do at times, they'll actually line right up, and they'll be sending out that pheromone, and that'll be calling the other ones back home. So I think we've done pretty good here today. They'll make their way in. I'm going to leave this for a while until things calm down. There'll probably be a few bees that come back up to their original spot. That's pretty typical, and then hopefully everything will come in here. And then before the night's out, I'm going to move this to one of my platforms that I have, and we should have another hive starting. All right, so while we're out here in the bee yard catching that swarm, waiting on things to cool down, I'm going to do an inspection on one of my other hives here and kind of just walk you through what you can expect to find. Here we are, we're at the beginning of June in West Virginia, zone 6. So just going to take that top cover off. That's called the telescoping cover. Here you have what's called an inner cover. There's a little hole here. And these guys might be a little bit more aggressive than the last, just because they have a home to protect and they've got food, and they're young, which we call brood, so they're looking to protect that. So as you come in here, come on a little bit closer, take a look down. You can tell these girls are working, and you can see all of that. If you look, come from this angle, I guess. If you look, you can see that white comb, that white wax. That's a real fresh wax. Most likely that is capped honey. So I'm going to pull that out here in just a moment and show it to you. Ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so I just took this from the hive down there and I brought it over here. My wife's a little nervous about being all around the flying bees. She thinks they're all mad at her. But as you can see, this is actually a black foundation. That piece of, it's actually plastic, and the bees have made that white wax on it. Looks real pretty. And then you can see in this corner here all that liquid stuff. That's your liquid gold. That's your honey that they're putting in there. I'm going to go to the other side here and show you another stage. So that side's almost full with honey. They got a little bit more they're going to do. You can tell they're working on it all over there. They're busy working. They're not even minding us looking at them. And so what'll happen is once they fill up that honey, it'll be capped. It'll be all white. I'll show you one of those in just a moment.
It's ready.
Now this is a pretty sight. So this is a frame. Again, they're working on the very bottom, closing it off. But if you notice, it has a nice thin white wax there that covers all the honey in there and seals it up, saves it for winter. Again, both sides. You got a little bit of comb on the bottom, the extra comb there. They call that burr comb. They just seem to make comb and wherever they can. But this right here, I'd say this weighs, I don't know, probably 5 to 8 pounds, somewhere in there, and it's
Really?
full of honey.
Look who just got stung. Poor little guy.
I'll teach them.
You gotta play smart around the honeybees.
So as you can see, these bees are making their way in. It's only been probably about 20 minutes since we laid the box here. And they're making their way in and through. They've got comb, and I've got an in-hive feeder here. I'm gonna give them some sugar water, just to give them a little boost as they get started. And just a little bit, probably before I leave the bee yard, I'm gonna close this up, leave it here for a little while, let them continue to finish making their way in. I don't see any other residual bees up in this section here. And so we'll close up the hive, and then I'm gonna place it right over here in the middle of those 3 hives there, that one spot, and that'll put me up to 11 hives here in the Almost Heaven Homestead bee yard.
Y'all come back.